Alright, I promised I'd come on here Sunday, July 10th, 2016. My name is Todd Schleiger. We are live on Facebook and on Periscope. I'm running for governor for the state of Michigan. And I told everybody that I would show my campaign promises and explain how I'm going to go about doing these. So hopefully we start to get some more people on here. We'll give it a couple more minutes and then I'll go into my breakdown of my campaign promises and explain how we're going to get these things done and accomplished. Where do you want me to go? Don't answer that. Alright. First off, I'd like to say that my prayers and thoughts go out to the families of the slain officers that were, you might as well say, executed down in Dallas. So, alright. One of my main campaign promises that I plan to do for the state of Michigan is to bring 500,000 jobs to the state. Now, all my campaign promises are based on bringing jobs to Michigan. So here's what we're going to do. By lowering our taxes, and I've said this over and over again, by lowering our taxes in the state of Michigan, this will help bring jobs to the state, not only to the metropolitan cities, but also to the upper part of Michigan and enhance our tourism. Now, by reducing the taxes, I mean by lowering our state income tax, which will benefit 80% of the people in Michigan. We need to end the corruption in our courts and our legal system and help get some of the people off welfare. I'd like to get all of them off there, but that's not going to happen. We need to have some kind of backup system to help people when they're down. But like I said, by eliminating our taxes and restructuring our tax system, we will accomplish by bringing companies into the state of Michigan. All right. When I say reduce the taxes for the people of Michigan, I mean by lowering our state income tax, restructuring our corporate income tax to entice companies to come to Michigan. We have right now Governor Schneider. In 2011, he raised the corporate income tax to 6%. But not all companies are paying the 6%. You got mom and pop that's paying the 6%, but you don't have all the companies in Michigan paying an equal share of our corporate income tax. You have General Motors, or Generous Motors, however you want to call them. They're paying 4.27 of this corporate income tax. You have Chrysler, which is paying even a little bit less, and you have Ford, which is paying the same as General Motors. I want to lower the corporate income tax to 3% across the board. In other words, mom and pop pays 3%, the big three pay 3%, and I want to bring the banks up to 3%. The banks are only paying 0.29, just a hair over 1/4%. That is not fair to the rest of the companies that are paying taxes here in Michigan. Corporate income tax, and one of my big pet peeves is our insurance companies. They're raping the people left and right. They're only paying 1.75% for this corporate income tax. I want to bring them all up to 3%, mom and pop down to 3%. This ought to create jobs in Michigan. I want to, for our schools, the average per child in our schools is $7,300. You have some districts that are actually getting more and you have some that are actually getting less per student. I want to bring it up. I want the state to actually monitor where these funds are going for our kids. They are our future. We need to keep our schools up to date. I want to bring it up. Right now our school budget is $13.4 billion. I want to bring it up to $16 billion, holding our teachers and schools accountable for their credibility. If the teachers, I'd like to bring them a 10 to 15% pay raise. That is figured into the $16 billion, but it is also figured in for $9,300 per child. That's a $2,000 raise per child. But I want it to go fairly to each district. I would like to see the schools brought up as our center of community, because we seem to have lost our center of community for our cities and our urban areas. By restructuring our lottery system, right now you are only getting 5.5% of the lottery to go into our school funding. I'd like to bring that up to a minimum of 15%. Too much is going to administrative costs. It doesn't need to go there. That fits right in with my pet peeve with the insurance companies. You have, like I said before, you've got the CEO of Blue Cross Blue Shield, who is actually a nonprofit. You got the CEO making $6.6 million. That's wrong. I've tried to get in and talk to Daniel Lope. He won't talk to me. Again, we need clarity on where our taxes are going. If you call Lansing and ask them where all our gas tax money is going, they don't have an answer for you, or they don't want to tell you. Our gas tax as of right now is 54.39. That is including the 18.4 for the federal. Most of the construction and road repairs that you see going on right now are all funded by our federal tax dollars on gasoline and diesel. The state of Michigan isn't spending the money like it should be. They like to tell us we're all paying 19 cents a gallon, and I've gone over this over and over with my live broadcast. But I'm trying to give you a breakdown again of where our tax dollars are going and where they're hiding them so we can't see them. Excuse me. Again, they tell you we pay 19 cents per gallon. According to the breakdown from the API, which is the American Petroleum Institute, there are 16.99 cents tax per gallon, and it states right on there, other state taxes and fees, which brings it to a total of 35.99 cents per gallon. That's just the state portion. That is not including our federal tax dollars that are tied to our gasoline tax. Now, if they're receiving, I'm going to round this off to 36 cents because it's real close to it. If we're spending 36 cents per gallon on a gas, according to the API, the state as of in 2012 was only using 11.77 cents. Now, 2015, from the end of 2014 to the beginning of 2015, that went up to 13.75 cents per mile. Now, that's also figured per gallon, so you might as well just say, even if you look at the 19 cents that they're telling us, they're still only spending 13.75 cents on our roads. So then that's why our roads are in such bad repair. As governor, all the money that is collected off our gas tax will go to our roads. Now, I plan on repealing this back to 2014 numbers, which is actually about 7 cents cheaper than what it is now. Now, in 2017, our gas tax is going to go up 7 cents per gallon. Okay, so the numbers are going to increase even more, and there's nothing that we can do until 2018. So, in 2018, when I am elected governor, I will repeal the gas tax back to 2014 numbers. That'll lower it 14 cents per gallon. It will also be lowering your taxes. In my first 100 days of office, I can tell you this right now, property taxes will be cut 50% from day one. Gas tax will be repealed back to 2014 levels. We will restructure our state lottery system so that our schools benefit more from the lottery system like it was originally created for in the early 70s. The courts, the corruption in our courts is running rampant. I mean, we have a judge here in Oakland County, Judge Gorsuch. She had a number of complaints filed against her. It finally went to the Judicial Tenor Committee. Now, the Judicial Tenor Committee has not filed any sanctions against a judge in almost 40 years. I doubt that we'll see any sanctions come for Judge Gorsuch. In my way in administration, we will bring back we'll bring back wow, I brain lock here. Talk about stumbling. We have a grand jury system. Back in 2005, Antonin Scalia, who is now a deceased Supreme Court Justice, wrote an opinion that the people's grand jury is a fourth branch of government. It belongs to the people, not any one of the three branches of government. Well, I want to bring back the common law grand jury, which is the people's grand jury. Every courthouse, every main courthouse in every county will have an office that the common law grand jury can be accessed from. This alone will put the judges and attorneys on notice. If you have a complaint about a judge, you can file it at the Judicial Tenor Committee, but I don't believe that's going to help for simple reason. You got judges looking over at other judges. Come on, people. They go to dinner together. They play golf together. You're not getting real justice by that. My other camera for Periscope fell. So but it's still working. All right. By bringing the people's grand jury in, that gives the people a way to get real justice. If a judge is not paying attention to your rights and you file a complaint with the people's grand jury, they would look at both sides. The people themselves can put common sense and compassion into what the judges and the lawyers are supposed to, but they don't. They ignore us. If you go to court, and any of you have done this before, you go to court without an attorney, does the judge really listen to you? Answer is, most of the time, no. We need to stop that. These judges have turned into giant collection agencies instead of halls of justice. The whole idea is to bring the government back to the people of Michigan, not continue this tax and spend way that Lansing is doing. Now, I don't want to go into too deep on what some of my plans are for our judges and lawyers because I don't want no backlash from them yet. I'm not afraid of them, but I don't need no backlash from them as of yet. Some of them that I've talked to, they like what I have to say, but again, they told me I'm going to have a hard road to go to get that to go through, which I don't have no fears of that because the people want justice. They don't want to be pushed off to the side and have their rights denied. Now, like I said, to improve our state roads, and again, I'm just looking at my card so I can keep online here seeing how I'm having a hard time remembering where I'm going with all this. Not remembering where I'm going, but following all the paperwork. It didn't sound too good for somebody who's running for governor, but hey, honesty is a good thing. I believe, but I know I want to cut $20 billion out of our tax structure, and where that $20 billion is, majority of it is coming out of, is by eliminating our property taxes eventually. Now, on day one, when I cut it to 50%, that is to give the state, the local, and county governments a chance to get their stuff in order for this to happen. The state of Michigan collects $125.9 billion annually. That's all our taxes combined. The budget for Michigan is only 25.6 or 25.9. Now, it's supposed to be going up to about 52 billion, but if that goes up to 52 billion, trust me, there's more taxes coming down the line, and we need to stop this. What we need to do is stop the misappropriation of our taxes, and the gas tax is a perfect example of the misappropriation. Some of that money's been going into our general funds, and it's not supposed to be going. That's supposed to be going for our roads and bridges, upkeep and safety. Now, I know some people have asked me if I eliminate the property tax. Now, this is a big one because this will help put money back into our homeowners and people in our state to help make it so they can actually own their homes, not have to keep paying on their home 20 years after the house is actually paid off. Now, if we eliminate this property tax, the argument I'm getting is, how are we going to pay for our police departments and our fire departments? These are monies that are already built into the system. The state actually can pay for all these with our normal taxes. Like I said, we collect $125.9 billion in tax revenue. Now, we have supposedly an $80 billion deficit that I can't seem to get answers on where all this is coming from. I know some of it's the welfare system, but what I have for health insurance and stuff like that, that'll help cover some of this to get this broke down. I need to find where all these deficit numbers are coming from, because I'd like to eliminate the majority of them as we're going through. Now, I realize in a 4-year term, I'm stretching to do a lot to cover all this, but again, like I said, my main job as governor will be to help provide ways for the families of Michigan to continue what they're doing. Like I said, health insurance and auto insurance are mandatory. They should be affordable. We will make them affordable in the state of Michigan. If we run across, I will work with the senators in the state house. But if I have an issue where they don't want to work with the governor, this is where the people of Michigan will be coming in to make these decisions. We can always call a special ballot. Now, when we go to put a law into effect in Michigan under my administration, these ballots you've all seen, they're pretty good sized pieces of cardboard, paper, whatever you want to call them. They're pretty good size. They have room to put each thing that we need to vote on, instead of hiding 10 other ones like Prop 1. We had 10 other laws hidden behind the one that they wanted to increase our roads, which the people unanimously turned down by 80% vote. So in doing that, we are actually giving the people a choice on everything that needs to be passed. We're not going to have these ice cream weeks that they have now in the State House and Senate. That's about the only thing they've managed to pass with any certainty, I should say. But we need to get people involved, we need to get communities involved, and we need to start getting our schools up to date, getting our schools funded properly, getting our police departments and fire departments all funded the way they should be. We pay enough taxes to get these all paid and get these people and everything in order and get these people paid the proper wages. We need to increase some of their wages, We have judges that are being overpaid. Again, I have to cut it off there. I don't want to go too far into the legal system here, for the simple fact I don't need them all ticked off at me yet. In time, I will allow it to happen. Don't matter to me. We need to get everybody together. What do we got going on here? Sorry about that. The other camera just quit for the Periscope. All right. Where did I leave off here? Okay. I've already went into our state road repairs, highways, and without increasing the taxes. I've gone into improved funding for our public schools. And I will tell you this, if you call the governor's office on my administration and you want to find out where taxes are going for whichever thing the state's handling, you'll get an answer. I guarantee you that one. There won't be no pushing you off to the side. I won't be a governor that'll be sitting in Lansing unless I'm absolutely needed there. I'll be traveling around and finding out what the people of Michigan need, how we can get the job done. It won't be just sitting in there talking it over with the senators and the state reps. I'm sure they'd like to be involved with that. I'm sure that's their job. But I'm not going to sit there and rely on them. They have their own districts to tend with, and that's all that's to that. They will bring in what they need to bring in, and we'll get the people's work done. There, I got rid of that noise. All right. So, if there's any questions that you would like to know, feel free to ask them while we're on here. I plan on being on here for an hour. I haven't even got a clock around here to even know when my hour's up. So, one of these times I'm going to actually have a list of notes here instead of trying to do this off the cuff. I just believe in being honest with everybody, so this is all I ever sit here with, is this one little card. So these are out all over Michigan. I've got some new ones coming out. I think by shrinking our state government and cutting some of these excessive paychecks down is a good way to get some of the state spending under control. I mean, state reps, they took a 10% pay cut here a couple years ago. Now they only make $71,869, same as the senators. You got judges out there that they've gotten a pay raise, and again, they profit off their office, which they're not supposed to be doing. So if there's any judges in there, I'm sure you'll be here to complain about what I'm about to say. But again, I don't care. You need to be reeled in as it is. We have a couple of judges out there in Gratiot County that seem to think that they're above the law and they can do whatever they want to do. They need to be reined in. We have a couple in Oakland County. I'm sure there's some in other counties as well. But I can only answer for the ones that I've personally dealt with. And I will reel them in. And I also promise to have monthly town hall meetings with the people of Michigan. It could be done on live TV. It could be done by the phones. It could be Facebook Live. It seems to be a thing going on with social media right now, and I'm utilizing as much of it as I can. I've been trying to get out here every week, every Sunday, to talk to the people and see if I can get some questions answered for them. Anybody out there got any questions they'd like answered? I'm looking. Come on, you people had questions last week. Well, Kerry, that's what I was talking about, eliminating property tax on your primary residence only. If you happen to own a second home, then you can afford the taxes on the second home. Not on your primary, but that is where I feel on that. You know, by lowering your property, or eliminating your property tax and lowering your state income tax, and working on cutting the federal income tax, which that'll be a bigger task than what the state one will be, but I think it can be handled. You know, you get enough of the people together and get your state reps and senators to work together with it, I think we can lower our federal income tax here in the state as well. There are laws on the books that allows us to do certain cuts to our taxes without permission from the Fed, but the thing is, the Fed's going to be a bear to get that. Or third, I can't. I don't know about the free taxes unless you're talking about people who come, immigrants who come over here to open businesses that are getting tax-free for 7 years. I do have an issue with that when it's passed on to a family member. I believe if a business is, they got the free tax for 7 years, after that it should be taxed from then on, whether they transfer it or not. I haven't really dug into that one on the taxes. I know it goes on, but I want to honestly give you an answer on how we can stop that, so I'm still looking into it. And what I'm talking about is the free tax. Well, we're going to eliminate all the loopholes in Michigan that we possibly can. There's tax breaks that are out there that need to be eliminated, because all they're doing is, if they give a tax break here, they put the tax onto somebody else, in other words, other groups, and that's going to stop. We have, I believe the tax book here in Michigan is 72,000 pages. If I get my way, that tax book will be 3 pages or less. But that's going to take a lot of work from the people and from the state reps and the Senate. But it can be done if we really want it to be. I did mention on my card, it does say eliminating the tax loopholes, because there's too many companies and people squeaking through those at all tax levels. We need to stop that. But at the same time, you know, when I eliminate these tax loopholes, it's going to be fair tax. You're going to know what you're paying in the taxes right across the board. I guess the proper phrase would be a flat tax, but it'll be 3 tiers. If you make from $1 to $150,000, you're going to pay 2.5% on the state income tax instead of 4.25%. If you make $151,000 to $300,000, it's going to stay the same at the 4.25%. If you make over $300,000, you're going to pay 6% state income tax, straight across the board. If you make more than that, it's still 6%. That's where the tax shift is being put from the 80% of the people. Now, there's people out there that make a heck of a lot more than $600,000, and I realize that, and they are going to be getting the tax increase. But the majority of us make less than $150,000, a lot less. Well, I'm glad I could answer that for you, Kerry. But the whole thing is, we need to start paying a fair tax. That fair tax is set up so that everybody pays the same. You don't have insurance companies paying this tax bracket and then you have the banks paying this tax bracket down here. We need to bring them all up to the same, so businesses, when they come into Michigan, they know exactly what their tax base is going to be. Now, if you look at a lot of the businesses right now, especially mom and pops, 40% of every dollar that comes in there is taxed to them. That's before they get any cut out of there. That's before their employees, are paid, and then before themselves, they get paid. But the majority of the money that comes in is right near 40%. Chris, I'll make a personal appearance anytime anybody wants me to come up and talk to them. I work just like everybody else here in the state of Michigan, but if you want to make the time for me to come up and talk to you in person with groups, I don't care, from 5 people to 500 people, I'll come up and talk to you. I will drive to you. I have no problem with working that out. Like I said, my ideas they're not inside the box. A lot of my ideas are thinking outside the box. I've had people say that we can't make these changes because it would be too fast for the state. Well, we need somebody who's going to take the reins and do things for the people of Michigan instead of lining their pockets. I mean, I hate to bring up Flint. This is to me, is a travesty that should never have happened. They're talking about relining the pipes. Now they're talking about replacing them. There's no other answer but to replace those pipes in Flint. It's not just Flint. We have lead pipes in Detroit. We have lead pipes in Ann Arbor, Grand Rapids. They all need to come out of the ground and be replaced. We had a company from California that volunteered to donate $60 million of PVC pipes for the city of Flint. Our governor turned it down. Now, how foolhardy is that? That could have saved $60 million to the city of Flint and to the state. Now, no matter what happens, you and I are stuck on the line for decades to pay for those children and families of Flint because of an idiotic governor that we have here that doesn't want to pay attention to the state of Michigan. Granted, it was Darrell Early, the emergency manager, that put all this into effect. But the whole thing is, he answered directly to the governor's office. The governor says he didn't know about this for a year. Come on. If you're a governor of a state, you know what's going on through your state. You may not know every minute detail, but something like this is not acceptable. Brian Calley, the lieutenant governor, and then you've got Bill Schuette. He's costing the state millions of dollars. Some of it I agree with. He needs to get to the bottom of this. But the whole problem is his only intentions is because he wants to run for governor in 2018, same time I'm running. I personally hold Governor Schneider, Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley, Bill Schuette, our Attorney General, all 110 of our state reps, and all 38 of our senators responsible for this. Any one of them could have started something to help those people in Flint. There's no excuse. That's why I push so hard to get people elected who have never been in office, because they're the ones that bring common sense into our government. Right now, you've got career politicians in there, and all they're doing is the same old, same old. They're sticking with the establishment. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat. I don't even care if you're a Libertarian, Tea Partyist, or whatever. I gave up my Republican status because I am sick and tired of playing their games. That's why I go around telling everybody, say no to the status quo. It's got to stop. The only way we're going to stop this is by electing people who want to use their common sense, who have never been in office, and they're not afraid to open their mouths. We need a strong leader and somebody who will do what they say they will do. I'm putting together a contract that will be on my website hopefully within the next couple of weeks. It's a contract between me and the people of Michigan. I promise in this contract, all 10 of these campaign promises will be on that contract. And I will fulfill that contract. The hardest one to fulfill will be the 500,000 jobs that I plan to create for Michigan. So hopefully on that one you give me a little leeway, but the other ones, don't give me no leeway. I will get the other 9 done, guaranteed. For those of you who don't know what my campaign promises are, go to SchleigerForGovernor2018.com. They're on there. And there's also a donation button on there. I need all the support and help I can get from you. If you can't donate $3, $4, $5 a month to the campaign, fine. Donate your time. I need volunteers. We need volunteers for August 20th for Woodward Dream Cruise. I plan on being down there, and we're going to be having a signature drive going down through there. I need at least 15 or 20 volunteers just for that day alone. 2 weeks from now, we have the Ann Arbor Art Fest. I would like to get 15 or 20 volunteers to go over there with me on Thursday and Sunday. There's a lot of things going on. There's only one other declared candidate out here other than me right now, and that's Jim Hines out of Saginaw. I believe he's a gynecologist or OBGYN or whatever they are. He's a ladies' doctor. It's the best way for me to say it. I haven't heard nothing about him. I haven't seen anything out there about him. Maybe he's just declared. I don't know if he's really out here running. I'm unknown, so that's why I've been running as hard as I have for the last year almost. I know who I'm going to be running up against pretty much, and like I said, that's Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley, Attorney General Bill Schuette. I haven't heard of Mark Hackle, the Democrat's going to run. Candace Miller, she might be in there. These are all people that are known. I'm unknown. But I promise you this, I will keep my words. They can tell you all they want that they'll keep their words. But look at their record so far. They haven't kept it. And all they want to do is keep increasing your taxes. My goal, like I said, is to cut $20 billion out of our taxes. And we will use the money appropriately. If we tax anything, whatever we've said it's going to be taxed for, it will be used for just that. If I say gas taxes are being used for the roads, that's exactly what they'll be. If I lower it down to the original, all right, we won't even say about lowering it, even though I plan on cutting it 7 cents. Yeah, by the 2018 it would actually be 14 cents. But even if it's 19 cents, you call the office, the state better show you that it's paying all 19 cents for those road repairs from that gas tax. I could give you a breakdown of an estimate that I figured out for gas tax. It comes up to the state of Michigan on gasoline alone, collecting $57 million a week. And that's just an estimate by the state's numbers. But do you see that going towards the roads? Not all of it. This stuff has to stop. What's this, Chris? Milford Memories Festival in August is coming up as well. I'll have to look that one up, Chris. I don't know where. Well, I mean, I realize it's in Milford, but I didn't know nothing about that one, so I don't have that on my schedule. But yes, I plan on going up north here in the next couple of months. I'd like to get up into Traverse City. I'd like to get back to Mankato. That's where I started out with my first parade was in Mankato, Michigan, up by Oscoda. Wonderful people up there. Got a lot of support from them. So, again, you know, if you can afford to donate, I'm only asking for $3, $4, $5 on a reoccurring monthly basis. There's a donation button on my website. And that website's SchleigerForGovernor2018.com. If you can't afford to donate, volunteer your time. I've got a couple of events coming up. Like I said, the Ann Arbor Art Fair is coming up here in 2 weeks. We have the Woodward Dream Cruise, which is down here in the metro area. A lot of people going there, and we're trying to gather 15, 20 volunteers for each event. All we're doing is going out passing around cards like this and having signatures signed. I need your support. I need your help. If you believe in real change for Michigan, then I'm the ticket that you want to be on. Like I said, you can sit there, and I want you to. I want you to listen to what these other candidates are going to be saying when they come out here. I'm trying to get my name out there for name recognition. I guarantee you, not one of them is going to talk about eliminating your property tax, and they're not going to be talking about cutting your taxes. They're going to be talking about we need to rebuild our infrastructure, which is true. We do. But we have the money to do it. We just need the right people in office to do it. Everybody that I've gotten behind on these, there's other candidates out here that are running for 2016. You have a good candidate up there in Port Huron, Shane Hernandez. He believes in the fighting for the people's rights. That's the only reason why I stand behind him, because he talks about fighting for the individual rights of the people in his district. He's a Republican. Like I said, I stand behind him. We have one down here in District 46. He's a Democrat, but he believes in fighting for the people's rights. So I stand behind him. I don't care what party you're part of. If you believe in fighting for the people's rights, I'll stand behind you. As governor, I'll be out here fighting for each individual rights that I can. I don't believe in anybody being left out. We need to get the sense of community rebuilt in the state of Michigan. We need to get our children, educate them. Common Core is gone once I'm in there. There's no issue with that in my mind whatsoever. Common Core is a travesty in itself. It hampers our teachers' creativity to teach our kids. I almost said train, but to teach our kids. I've talked to teachers over and over. I believe in the STEM program, which is our science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That is the wave of the future. I will make sure that STEM is brought into the schools. Common Core will be gone. Our teachers will be held accountable. If they can't do the job, even with retraining, then they need to leave and bring in teachers that want to teach. Our classrooms need to be shrunk in size. We have plenty of schools out here that can be refurbished and reopened for our children to shrink these classrooms. If we're not willing to put forth the effort, then we might as well let it go. But I'm not willing to let it go. We need to get this state back on its feet. And I believe Michigan, instead of calling it pure Michigan, which I can't stand, I think it needs to be called a state of new beginnings. It's time for new beginnings for the people of Michigan. It's time to cut the taxes. It's time to hold these elected officials accountable, hold our judges accountable. It's time to wake up, Michigan. It's time to get our heads out of our butt and get to work. The only way we can do this is with your help. And I will get the job done. It's time to get the people of Michigan back to work. It's time to bring jobs back to Michigan. It's time to lower our health insurance. It's time to lower our income tax. It's time to restructure what we need to get restructured. It's time to stop the tax and spend habit that the Lansing has. You need a go. Look at it this way. You got Hillary or you got Trump. I believe we need a strong governor that's willing to stand up to those two idiots. Hillary, she scares the hell out of me. Trump, I don't know what to expect. So, it's up to you. Are you willing to stand up for your rights in Michigan? Are you willing to stand up and fight for lower taxation? Are you willing to fight for better schools? It's all up to you. You're the voter. That is the power of the people, is to vote. You know, I've had people say it doesn't matter what my vote does. It really does. No matter how many times I've thought my vote didn't count, I'm still there voting. Because that's my voice. I have plans on winning this election. not just by, it's amazing. Works fine all this time, then all of a sudden when I start talking about getting the people going, my connection dies out. Amazing, isn't it? Who knows? Maybe somebody's actually listening. But I plan on making changes, big changes for the state of Michigan. The economist that we've had look at my tax restructuring, he says it'll work. I know it'll work because it's common sense, something that the government has forgotten to use a long time ago. You give the people more money in their checks, they will spend more money in the economy. More money in the economy, the more jobs created, the lower the taxes, and you still have money to function. It's that simple. Stop the misappropriation of taxes, do the people's work, and stay in touch with the people. How much more simpler can that be? If you agree with me on that, helps join the team and help support our campaign. It's that simple. Either you believe in fighting for what I've been talking about for this last 45 minutes to an hour, or you don't. If you believe in staying with the status quo, that's your choice, not me. I'm different. I'm thinking outside the box, and I do not want to follow down that rabbit hole. It's time to stand up, Michigan. It's time to make your voice heard, and it's time to join the side that you feel you can deal with and win with. I don't like the odds that we have if we stay with the status quo. That's why I'm running for governor. I believe in change, and I will fight for change. I plan on winning this election by a landslide, not by a slim margin. We had less than 4 million votes our last election. I can tell you right now, if I were to get 2 million votes, I could pretty much guarantee that I win. I don't want just 2 million. I want 4 million alone. I want to send a message to Lansing. I want to send a message to Washington. There's a new governor coming to Lansing, and it's one that's actually going to fight for the people. Now, if there's no more questions on here, anybody else want to ask a question, ask it. If not, I'm going to be signing off. I'll give you a minute or two here to decide if you have a question to ask. I see that we got a couple more viewers this time than last week. That's a good thing. Did I answer all your questions to your justifications there? Or did I just rant? If you felt I ranted, that's all right. Oh, you're trying to tell me I got another 10 minutes there, Chris? I don't have a clock here in front of me. Like I said, I'm just sitting here ranting as long as I can and trying to get out as much of my message as I can. Sometimes I get pretty upset with the way the system is, and that's why I'm running for the office that I am. See, I've had people ask me how come I'm running for governor, the top job. Well, I could have run for state rep, or I could have run for senator, started out there. But I came across this situation. The situation is, if I'm a state rep or a senator, I have to get 2/3 of the Senate to agree with me, and 2/3 of the state house to agree with me on a situation that needs to be taken care of for the people of Michigan. Well, let's say I get the 2/3 of both houses. The governor, gotta love this connection, and it only does it when I start talking about the governor's office. But anyways, the governor can veto it. So what I just tried to do doesn't get done. But as governor, I can point everybody in the right direction from the Senate and the State House. They might not agree, but at least if that doesn't work, I just get the people involved with a special ballot. All right. No, I believe, well, Chris, your question is, if a city is in deep trouble like Detroit and Flint, where would you still assign an EM? In other words, an emergency manager. I don't believe in the emergency manager system. I believe the cities themselves know their city better than any of the emergency managers. The cities can ask the state for help, and the state can come in and help, but the cities still know their people better than Lansing, better than any emergency manager could. They should work hand in hand. The state should work hand in hand with the cities that are in trouble, but not take control of the city. It would have to be a dire emergency for the state to come in and take control. Now, I believe the state should take control of our school systems to make sure the teachers are paid properly and the schools are kept up. But part of the things that I want to do to bring businesses to Michigan is I want every school supply that those schools use to come right here from Michigan. If we don't have companies here in Michigan that make pencils, I'll be damned if mom and pop shouldn't open a pencil store or manufacturing company here in Michigan, because the state's going to buy those pencils for our schools. Paper. We got Pacific, what the heck's that paper company here in Kalamazoo. We got everything we need just about here in Michigan. If we don't, we'll go out and get those companies to come to Michigan to provide for all our schools. You know, I believe in bringing companies to Michigan. I believe in creating jobs. The only way we can do all this is by getting our heads out of our butts, lowering our taxes, and get to work for the people. Not this game that's being played on of, oh, we need more money, so let's just increase the taxes. Let's hurt the families more. No. The idea is to put them to work, let them provide for their families. You know, we do have some entitlements out there, but I don't believe it's our responsibility for that. I believe our responsibility is to create jobs and educate our children. Not this way it is. We need to change things here in Michigan, and I mean change them hard, drastically. But all for the betterment of our families, not for the betterment of these politicians' pockets. I'm not going to Lansing to get rich. I make a good living doing what I'm doing now, driving a truck and listening to drivers. I've been in the transportation industry for over 30 years. I'm happy doing it now, but somebody's got to get up there to do the job for the people of Michigan. I've sat here and watched these idiots cost me more money, cost you more money, and they're not doing anything. They've said they were going to fix our roads for the last 20 years. All they're doing is taking that money and putting it into their pockets or into some other stupid thing. And if you don't think I'm kidding, if you think I'm kidding about Ice Cream Week, Google it on Google there and State Rep Ice Cream Week. It's millions of dollars there. They got their ice cream. I like ice cream, but I'll pay for my own, thank you. I don't need the people of Michigan paying for my ice cream. You know, our roads, everybody knows how terrible they are. Hell, they don't have no money for roads, but they have $158 million to build up a new Senate building because they didn't maintain theirs. You know, $87 million for the dome on the Capitol, bad maintenance program. Well, that's why it's all as bad as it is, because they don't want to maintain nothing. They want to wait till it falls apart, then go to the taxpayers. You know, they're a blank check. Let's just write a check and do that instead of spending the money to fix our roads. Now I am rambling. But this is stuff that I plan on taking care of. If I have an issue that I think needs to be taken care of, I'll come to the people. We'll have a special ballot. It's cheaper to have that special ballot than to sit here and let everything go to hell. It's water, not scotch. So, there you go. The only thing I'll spend the people's taxpayers' money on is my scotch. How's that? I'm just kidding. Uh, there's so much that needs to be done. We need somebody who's willing to do it. And right now, all we have is politicians that want to give lip service. Schneider, he's an idiot. Oh yeah, one tough nerd. He still hasn't gotten his head out of his butt, has he? You got Brian Kelly, you never hear nothing about until now. Now he's overplaying in Flint, like he wants to play the white knight between him and Bill Schuette there. Yeah, yeah. And yet, Bill Schuette's costing us more money, too. He wants to sue everybody else. He just joined the 10 states into suing for this bathroom stuff for the schools. I could care less, where somebody decides they want to go to the bathroom. I believe that's between the schools and the parents, not the state and the federal laws. So, it's all up to you people. It's all up to you, the people of Michigan. If you want changes, I'll bring you changes. I'll bring you lower taxes. I will get our schools into shape. We will shrink the classroom size. And I guarantee you'll keep more money in your pocket with me. All I can say is say no to the status quo. And if you want a voice, you have a choice. Vote Schleiger. You enjoy your evening. God bless you. And I'll be on here next Sunday with some more of my ramblings. 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Enjoy your evening.